Welcome to another episode of the Dan Lok Show. Today I'm super excited. I have a friend of mine, New York Times best-selling author. You probably already know him. Maybe you listen to his podcast if you're an entrepreneur, right? Former pro athlete turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Super proud. And his most famous, known for his show, the podcast I'm a fan of, The School of Greatness. Over 100 million downloads now.
Yeah,
100 million downloads. So welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
lock
it.
and load, baby.
Lock and load. Lock it down. We lock it down. So share with us a little bit about your journey. Maybe give us like a 3-5 minutes of how you got into entrepreneurship.
I wanted to be a professional athlete since I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I always dreamed about sports. That was a thing that my dad admired. We'd watch TV together, college football, and he was always so excited about these All-American athletes.
Like someday, son, you want to be that.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to be an All-American athlete.
Yes.
So my goal was to be an All-American athlete and then to be a pro athlete. And I accomplished both those things, and I didn't have a backup plan after that.
Okay.
My life went until pro sports, and that's as far as I could dream. So when the dream was over, I got injured playing football.
Yeah.
And when the dream was over, I also went through a very challenging experience with my dad. My dad, right before I went to play pro football, had a traumatic brain injury. And it's something that I actually don't talk about a lot. He had a traumatic brain injury. And he always told me, go chase your dream, and when you're done, you can come sell insurance with me. He had like a life insurance company. And I remember it was with Northwestern Mutual, so he had his own division in a city.
Kind of you can take over the business.
He was like, come take over my book, work with my clients, everything.
Yeah.
So I remember going to do the internship. I did I can't remember what the test was, but it wasn't Series 7, but it was like the life insurance test.
Yes.
And you can only take it 3 times before you have to wait like a year or 2 years to do it again. And I failed twice.
Okay.
So for me, test taking was the worst thing.
Yes.
I would get nervous.
Yes.
It's hard for me to remember things from a book.
Yes.
It was like, I don't know. I learned with my hands. I learned from playing sports. So I remember I passed it on the 3rd try, barely passed.
Okay.
So I had this backup plan, I guess.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So my dad gets injured. He had a car accident, was in a coma for 3 months.
Wow.
And we didn't know if he was going to live or die.
Yeah.
So it was this very uncertain time. And when he was in the coma, I said, what would he want me to do? He would want me to go live my dreams. And so I went after playing professional football right after that. And he eventually woke up, but we had to teach him how to write, how to talk, how to, we had to, change him constantly. Like he wasn't a functioning person that he used to be. He wasn't my dad anymore.
Yeah.
So it was an emotionally challenging experience because I lost the relationship with my father, but he's still in front of me.
Yeah.
I had to teach him how he was like a kid almost.
Yeah.
And so to watch my father be this, provider, larger than life hero of mine.
Yeah.
Now we have to take care of him.
Yeah.
It was a challenging experience for me as a 23-year-old. And I remember, so he had to sell his business to his business partner at the time. So there was no more financial support that I had because he was kind of funding my athletic endeavors, training,
education,
everything. He was like, you go chase your dream. Like, I'll take care of stuff. So when that realization came to me, like, I no longer have my dad to fall back on. I no longer have, I played football, got injured. He wasn't there he wasn't able to be there for me financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, as a mentor. He wasn't able to be there for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't have his company to fall back on. Nor did I really want to. I mean, I almost failed it 3 times in a row. I didn't really like it.
Yes.
I liked people, but I didn't want to sell insurance.
Yes.
Just what he knew for 33 years. And that was probably the biggest thing that happened to me, because if he was still healthy and alive,
then you might be just take over the insurance business,
selling life insurance in Delaware, Ohio, and be rising up in that city or whatever. Maybe I'd have moved to the big city of Columbus, Ohio. But as much as it's sad for me to know that he's still alive, but it's like a completely different relationship, and it's sad for me to know that happened. But I also think it had to happen for me to be able to become the man that I am today.
Yeah.
And to have the courage to be able to go after something that I didn't even know was possible. So when that happened, I was on my sister's couch after this accident for about 1.5 years, trying to figure out who I am in the world. who am I without this identity as an athlete? Everyone liked me.
Who's house, right? Yeah.
But now
kind of 2.0.
Yeah, but now that I can't do this, what are my skills? What are my talents?
Yeah. Life direction.
I had 7 years of college. It took me to graduate. Like I wasn't skilled at anything but sports and people. I learned how to, at an early age, observe people.
Yes.
And I became very intuitive about how people think, why they do the things they do.
Yes.
And I started to be aware and sensitive and very emotional to people's feelings, their desires, their dreams, their past, their everything. I didn't know that was a skill that I could use for my greater good and the greater good of everything. And I started to find mentors, and this is going on more than 3 minutes, but I started to find mentors during that time because my dad was my mentor. Now that he was no longer able to be there.
You're looking for a new mentor.
I was like, who's the father figure that I can find?
You can look up to and respect,
And I needed to find many of them because he was, a great mentor in all areas of my life. So I had 3 key mentors that...
Who are the mentors?
So the first mentor was a guy named Chris Hawker. So when I had surgery, I broke my wrist, and they had to put a bone from my hip into my wrist.
I can still see a scar.
See the scar here. They took a bone out of my hip, put it in my wrist. I was in a cast from my shoulder to my fingers for 6 months like this.
Wow.
So I was in this position, and when you're in a cast like this, I could move it here, I can move it here, I can move it here, but I couldn't straighten my arm. So I kind of rested. And it would like scratch my shirt when I was shirtless. It would like scratch my skin. It smelled. It was dirty. All these things. I was like, it didn't look good. So I invented this cast cover. I actually still have one.
Wow.
I think it's in that locker.
Yes. We'll take a shot of that. It's cool.
This is over 15 years ago, I think. So I invented this cast cover that I actually went on Alibaba.com. I had like $60 to my name. I was like, here's what I wanted. Here's the design. I wanted it to be like a wristband because I wore wristbands in football.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a long wristband.
Yes.
That's double thickness.
Yes.
That's different colors. That has a thumb hole. Like all these.
You were just thinking of doing it for yourself.
That's
right?
it. I just wanted a solution.
You weren't thinking of creating a product.
No, I was like, I need a solution for my pain.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay.
That's my first entrepreneurial idea.
Yes.
But I didn't know what it was.
Yes.
So I got this thing back from China. That was like 6 weeks later after I sent it, wired this money. I was like, I'm never going to get this money back.
Yes.
I had no clue what was going on.
Was it difficult communicating with China?
Very difficult.
Oh, yeah, the language.
Back and forth.
They don't understand. You try to understand what they say.
I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I went on Alibaba and posted something.
Yes.
Yeah. And I got this box back with all these cast covers, right, that I made. And I remember saying to myself, wow, this thing's amazing. I could change them out with different colors. It fits over the thumb hole. It looks better. Now, maybe I can make some money with this.
Yeah. Wonder who else needs this, right?
Yes. There's lots of guys who break their arm and leg.
There's got to be a few of them more than you. Yeah, okay.
So I remember I was dating a girl at the time, and I was just like, I need to meet an inventor. Someone who's done this before that can help me. This is an invention, right?
Yes.
Even though it's just a piece of cloth.
Yes.
And she goes, I know an inventor.
Oh, wow.
And he just moved back to Columbus, Ohio. That's where I was living at the time. He just moved back.
Okay.
And I go, I need to meet this guy now.
Okay.
Like, put me in front of him, call him. I need to meet him now.
Okay.
I meet the guy the next day. And at the time, I was a couple months out of football.
Okay.
And as a football player, I looked like pretty much like a thug. I was wearing a backwards cap. I had baggy pants. I was just this athlete jock mentality.
Yes,
so I show up with these baggy pants and backwards cap to a bar to meet this guy in this cast, and I was just like so passionate about this idea.
Was he scared of you? Like, what's
there?
I can imagine. Yeah, a little intimidating.
I was rough around the edges, you know.
Yes.
And I was just like convinced this guy knew the answer.
Yes.
Because he'd done it before.
Yes. He may be afraid to say no to you.
Exactly. He's complete opposite of me. You know, he was more like analytical and nerd,
nerdy. Yeah.
He was just like, but I brought this passion and this energy that I was just like, I need to make this happen.
Yes.
And I want to work with you. I want to make this happen. I don't know why, but he brought me on for 6 months. I worked for free for him for 6 months at his invention shop.
Wow.
In the kitchen, he had a closet that I had like a little desk that he put in for me.
Yeah.
And I was working for him, doing phone calls, trying to like promote his other products, going to trade shows with him, and just learning about how to take an idea and bring it to reality.
Wow.
So how do you make the idea something that is marketable?
Yes.
How do you brand it? How do you design it? 3D model, everything.
Patent,
Patent it. So I learned this crash course on bringing an idea into life, from idea to concept to prototype to the marketplace. And that was probably some of the best education I ever had, because I just had an idea for this solution of a pain that I had. So he was a great mentor at the time for me that taught me everything about, naming. He had over 85 products he brought to market. So he was always like, let's brainstorm the name of this, the concept.
The message.
The messaging.
Before you even invent anything. Yeah.
So he taught me so much in a short amount of time about how to bring an idea to life and make it successful.
Nice.
I remember being so afraid to speak in front of people at the time. I couldn't speak in front of an audience of 5 without trembling, stuttering, just very insecure.
Even though you're pro athlete, like you have the presence. You have the presence.
Yeah. But I was horrible in school.
Communication.
Horrible in school. The teacher would always ask us, say, open up chapter whatever, page 53, and read aloud to the class. Oh. And I would just wish they wouldn't call my name.
Yes.
They always
don't call me. Yeah.
But when I tell you that I was such a slow reader, it was just, I couldn't even read the simplest things, and I would stutter, so I just always felt like everyone was laughing at me. I always felt like everyone was laughing at me all the time when I would read aloud.
Yes, so that kind of conditioned you. You don't want to speak. You don't
want to be in front of an audience,
Yeah.
unless I'm playing a sport, something I'm comfortable in.
And you don't have to speak.
That's the way I can perform.
It's all physique, right?
That's it. Yeah, because I could inspire people through my way of being, my performance. So I was always very insecure around speaking in front of other people. And I remember someone told me at some point, if you really want to change the world, you need to learn how to communicate in front of an audience. Whether it's a boardroom of people trying to share, your message with the company, one-on-one. Or if you want to move a society, you need to be able to communicate with confidence.
Yes.
And I don't know, whatever it was, the reason, I think I was willing to explore all the areas of my life that I was not good at the time.
Yeah.
Because my dad wasn't around, I had no money, I was sleeping on my
It sounds to me almost you're trying to find yourself.
I was trying to. And I was like, what can I do to improve my life?
Yeah.
So I joined Toastmasters.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do Toastmasters?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked, like everything you share.
You've done it.
No, so my dad went bankrupt when I was 17 years old. Wow. So I had to...
You had to figure it out.
Exactly like that.
Back against the wall, there's no one to
and then and then my mom, they got divorced, so it was just me and my mom. So I got into business because I needed to take care of my mom.
Yeah.
Right? And what changed me, and another turning point was when my dad had a stroke and was in hospital for months. And couldn't speak, couldn't, like the man that I knew, that I look up to, father figure, and that's why I look for other mentors. Like,
wow, very similar.
Yeah, very similar. So at Toastmasters, because I couldn't speak a word of English, I got bullied in school, no friends.
Wow.
So I had to learn Toastmasters. Right? And
powerful, man.
Yeah, so I'm like...
Game changer.
Yeah. So from Toastmasters, and then what happened?
Yeah, it's funny. I met someone, I was afraid to dance as well.
Yes.
So before Toastmasters, I started going to a salsa club.
Oh, yes.
Every week.
Yes.
And I was terrified of my image. Really, my image was always at stake. I was scared of people's opinions about me.
Yeah, I guess it. Yeah.
So dancing in front of people, I'd get made fun of because I wasn't good.
Yeah. And also you're a big guy. Like it's not easy, right? When you're dancing against salsa.
It's not easy to become the white butterfly on the dance floor.
Yeah.
But I would go for month after month to watch these people dance.
Yes.
And I would never get on the dance floor. Just terrified.
Yes.
Girls would ask me to dance and I'd say, no, I don't want to make you look bad.
Yeah.
And I would just sit in the corner and be mesmerized by these Latinos just like twirling girls around.
Yeah, they're doing that,
They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got over the fear and I went on the dance floor for the first time. I was trembling. I was looking down at my feet. I was embarrassed. It's like everyone's laughing at me. And I looked up after 10 minutes and no one cared. No one cared what I looked like, how bad I was.
Yeah.
They were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And that was a big turning point for me because I looked around and everyone was like having fun doing their thing. No one stopped to look at me to be like, what an idiot. No one said that to me. They were all like, great job, you got out there.
Good, yeah.
That was the moment I said, like, I'm going to overcome all my fears and insecurities of what people think about me. And I'm just going to do it. And so I started salsa dancing every day religiously for the next 3.5 months until I got to a point of semi-mastery where I wasn't afraid.
Yes.
Right?
Proficient.
Then I met a salsa dancer one of these nights, and I was like, what do you do for a living? And he was like, I'm a professional speaker. I speak around the country.
Oh, wow.
And I go, you get paid to just speak? He goes, yeah, it's a full-time thing.
There is such a thing? Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I go to colleges, I speak at corporations, and I was like, man, I want to learn how you got into that. He's like, let's go have coffee tomorrow. I'll take you to coffee. I went to Barnes & Noble, Starbucks, right in Columbus, Ohio. And I said, what do I need to do? He said, you need to join a Toastmasters. And I said, okay, done. Next week, I went to 5 Toastmasters in my city.
Yes.
Because I wanted to research which was the most challenging one for me.
Yes.
I finally went to one that was, everyone was in suits. There was like professionals.
Oh man, that's exactly what I did.
They were like,
that's exactly
best-selling authors. And I was like,
I went to business,
right?
Toastmasters.
I had a cut-off T-shirt on because I had this huge cast.
Yes.
And these guys are all in suits, and I'm watching them and mesmerized. And I go, I'm so scared.
You're a young guy, right?
This is where I need to be.
Yes.
And I went there every week for a year.
Damn.
Every single week. And I met a guy at Toastmasters who became my next mentor.
Got it.
I saw one of the first ones I went to. He was presenting, and I was just so amazed by his charisma, his confidence.
What if I could do that, right?
What if I could be like that?
Yeah.
Model that.
Yeah.
And I asked him, this is so funny, the story, he tells this story. At the time I had no money, and there was like a little bit of like bread and like hummus and chips and carrots in the back of this Toastmasters room.
Oh yes. For the guests.
Yeah, it was like a special day or something. Yeah. And he speaks, and at the end of the day, I'm literally like this bum that is collecting all the food and putting it in my pockets.
Oh, wow.
I'm putting like bread, wrapping it, and the guy comes up to me and goes, what are you doing? I was like, I don't have any money, I don't have any food. I'm a big guy. And he goes, I'm going to take you to lunch right now.
Okay.
And so he paid for lunch.
Wow.
He became a mentor of mine. His name's Frank Hagan.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to help you. Like, I love your path. I love that you're here. You're showing up.
Yeah.
And because you're showing up, I want to show up for you.
Yeah.
And so I would train with him. I would record my speeches. They were horrible.
Yeah.
I used to think a 5-minute speech was 5 hours.
Yeah.
I used to feel like this was forever.
Yes.
The first speech was called The Icebreaker.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what am I going to talk about for 5 minutes?
Yes.
I don't know what to talk about.
Yes.
Now you can't get on stage for 5 hours and have enough time. It's like...
That's it.
So he was my second mentor, and he also helped me write my first book, which is a book about LinkedIn, because I was using LinkedIn to build relationships at that time.
Actually, I bought your LinkedIn course back then.
I like it, man. Linked working.
Yeah.
Linked influence.
Yeah.
So
I bought the course.
that's good, man.
Yeah.
So during this time, I was just like trying to learn as much as I could. I was on LinkedIn all day. I was doing public speaking.
Were you trying to go on LinkedIn also to get speaking gigs, to get learning how to do that?
At the beginning, I was just trying to get on there to find opportunities.
Okay. Something.
Because my third mentor told me to go on LinkedIn.
Okay, got it.
So my third mentor was a headmaster of the university that I went to called Principia College, and he was an Olympic qualifier in the marathon. He was just like a great spiritual business leader for me. He just always had the right moral. He just always knew like which direction you should go in. I could go to him for advice, and he was kind of like a sensei where he would never give me the answer.
Yeah, ask you questions,
Ask
and
me
you
to
ponder and
answer myself.
think.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's a great teacher right there.
Great teacher.
That's a great teacher. Yeah,
He
that's
would just kind
awesome.
of wait for me to like know the answer, or whatever it was.
Nice.
And I remember calling him and saying, I'm broke, I don't know what to do. I'm getting food out of the back of a Toastmasters. Like people have to beg people to take me to lunch. And he said, you should join LinkedIn. And at the time, I think there were 14 million people on LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
This was 2007.
Yes, early on.
And he's like, I've heard some people are getting jobs there. Why don't you check it out?
Yeah.
So I said, all right. I'm gonna
Maybe get a
tell me
job.
to-
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you tell me to do. So I'm spending 6 hours a day on LinkedIn for the next year and a half during this time, just reaching out to people, trying to connect with local leaders in Columbus, Ohio, business leaders, successful people, just anyone from sports background to business to whatever it may be. Anywhere I could find like a tie where I went to school with, or they went to the same school, or they liked football, anything at all. I was like, what do we have in common that I could reach out and connect to people? After about a year of building my relationships and profile, people just started coming to me and saying, hey, can you introduce me to this person? How do you know that person? I need help here. Can you connect me to a sales rep or a marketing rep?
Yeah.
I just started to become the connector. Then people were like, can you show me how to use LinkedIn the way you're doing it?
Yes.
And I started showing my friends.
Yes.
And one guy gave me $100 after I showed him. He goes, you have no idea this is going to help my business so much.
Yes.
And I go, this is a thing? I can make money
Yes.
teaching
Yes.
what I already know really well?
Yes.
And that was a big spark for me. I was like, okay, I can make money doing this.
Yes.
Started doing events around LinkedIn, around the country. Then one of my mentors was like, let's write a book together about LinkedIn.
Okay.
The speaking coach mentor
Yeah.
who had written a book. He was like, I'm going to help you write your first book.
Yeah.
So we shared that together.
Yes. When did you have your first break in business? You feel like, okay, because this was a long
It
time.
was summer of 2009.
Okay.
It was this time 10 years ago.
Okay.
So this was from 2007 until 2009.
Yes.
Of me having 3 mentors, public speaking training every week for a year,
Yes.
salsa dancing training,
Yes.
learning to write my first book, building on LinkedIn every day,
Building
6 hours a day,
relationships, yeah.
everything, going to meetings, just like learning as much as I can about myself. 2 years of this while recovering with a cast on, rehab, training, everything. And I started to build like a kind of a name and a personal brand around being like this LinkedIn guy. Twitter was becoming big in 2007, 2008.
Yep.
So I was going to tweet ups and promoting myself as
Yep.
like a LinkedIn guy.
Yeah.
And one day I went to an event. It's called Affiliate Summit.
Oh.
You know Affiliate Summit?
Yeah.
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 So I was hosting a LinkedIn networking event in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
And a guy who came, his name's Jim Kukral, who's a marketing guy. He said, he's like, how are you doing all this
Yeah.
from LinkedIn? How do you get 500 people to show up here
Yeah.
from just LinkedIn?
Yeah.
He's like, you need to come to this conference called Affiliate Summit.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I don't have any money to like get to Vegas.
Yes.
I can't pay for the ticket. He goes, I know the event
Organizer.
owner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get you a press pass so you
Yeah.
can get a free ticket if you like write a post about this
Yeah.
on your blog.
Yeah.
You just got to get yourself there. So I think I got like a $39 flight on Southwest,
Oh,
like
wow.
middle back seat.
Yeah.
I got the free ticket. I went there.
Yeah.
In the first hour, there was a kind of a networking session.
Yes.
People had tables.
Yes.
And I went up to my friend who told me about the event. He had a little booth.
Yes.
And within 5 minutes, this guy named Joel Comm walked up. And I knew who he was at the time because he was a
Yes.
New York Times bestseller.
He was back then, I think, focused on AdSense, right, Joe?
AdSense.
AdSense,
He had
yeah,
an AdSense
AdSense,
book.
yeah.
He had one of the biggest iPhone apps at the time called iFart. When the apps came out in the
Yeah,
App Store,
yeah.
he was making so much money on this farting app.
Yeah.
That was like you push a button, it makes a fart sound.
Yeah.
He crushed it.
Yeah.
So he had this kind of big persona
Yeah,
at the time
yeah,
in that space.
yeah.
I remember he came up and I was really nervous.
Yeah.
And my friend Jim, who introduced me, or who was there, he said, "This is Lewis Howes, the LinkedIn guy. You got to know him."
Yes.
To Joel.
Yeah.
And Joel looks at me and he goes, "Tell me why I need to know about LinkedIn
Yeah.
in 30 seconds."
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I said.
Yeah,
I was just like,
elevator
"Here's why
pitch,
LinkedIn is."
yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, I just had this like energy and passion. I was like, "LinkedIn's amazing. Here's what I can do." Blah blah. And he's like, "Okay, cool." And I didn't hear from him after that.
Okay.
6 months later,
Yeah.
he messages me.
Okay.
He emails me.
Yeah.
And says, "I'm doing this social media boot camp online, like this
Yeah.
webinar series.
Yes.
I've got the person on Facebook to talk. I've got the person on YouTube. I'm doing a
Doesn't
session
have a
on Twitter.
LinkedIn expert.
I don't know anyone else who's talking about LinkedIn. This
Okay.
is still 2009.
Yes.
But no one cared about LinkedIn.
Yes.
He's like, no one else is talking about it but you.
Yes.
Do you want to come on?" And I said, "Yes, let's do it."
yeah.
I had never done a webinar, a presentation still. I was
Yeah.
like early stages of
Yeah.
public speaking.
Yes,
I was
yes.
not a pro.
Yes.
But I said, I'll do it. I watched the other people beforehand. I kind of just mimicked their presentation.
Yes.
Put my own
kind of the
content in there.
flow, the structure.
Everything. I was so nervous. This was in the summer in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm living at my brother's house now. My sister kicked me out because I wasn't paying.
Because I know you were living in her on
I
couch.
was on a couch for a year and a half, and then
Yeah.
she said, "You got to start paying rent, or you got to move."
Yeah.
So she empowered me to like get off my butt.
Yeah. Meaning she kicked you out.
Kicked me out.
She empowered
With
you.
love, with
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
And I begged my brother to take me in, so he made me pay $250 a month for a room in his house.
Yeah.
Which was great for me because
Yeah.
it made me have more responsibility. And so I'm in his place. I'm about to start this webinar. I'm freaking out. It's so humid.
So like a virtual summit,
It's
basically,
like an
right?
online webinar,
got it.
virtual summit.
Got it.
They can't see me, but they can hear me and see
Got
my
it.
screen.
Got it.
And the webinar starts. I'm talking. It probably takes me 30 minutes to actually say something coherent.
Yeah.
Because Joel, about 30 minutes in, he's like, "Okay, let's start getting into some content."
Yeah.
I must have been rambling.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just like blacked out and started delivering the most incredible value of my life.
Yeah.
And at the end, I didn't have a product. I didn't have
It wasn't. You have an offer, yeah.
I didn't have anything, but I said, hey guys, here's a PayPal link. If you like this, here's a link. In a couple of weeks, I'll send you an email and we'll do some more advanced training on this.
Yes. What it looks like, don't know. How many weeks?
I have no idea what this is going to be.
Yeah, I love it.
But if you like this stuff, like
you want more, yeah.
You want more, I'm going to teach you stuff. Like, you'll get an email in a few weeks from me. Just trust me. Like, I'm going to send you something.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But I just told them that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Webinar completes. I opened my email, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Every line said,
PayPal.
you've received payment.
Yes.
You've received
How much were you offering the course for? Was it a couple $100?
$197,
Yeah.
I think it was at that time.
Yeah.
And so I made $6,200 that was in my PayPal account instantly.
That freaked you out? Like,
It's the most money I've ever seen in my life,
Yeah.
let alone made.
Yeah.
And I thought I was the richest person in the world.
Yeah.
But it's something that unlocked me. So this was 10 years ago, literally probably maybe 10 years and a month ago, where it showed me what was possible. Like for 2 years of training on this skill set, of learning, of developing myself. Now I found something that people needed, another pain. They wanted to learn how to use LinkedIn to grow their business or get a job. I had a skill set that I wasn't even aware of. And people wanted it and they were willing to pay for it. And that was my first kind of big break into realizing, okay, I could do this every day for the rest of my life. I want to make $6,200 an hour.
yes, and if this is the first time you do it, maybe if you tweak it,
If I'm
improve
better
it.
at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hacked this webinar together. I have no clue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I've been doing webinars for 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing you share your story because people look at what you do today, right? Lewis House today on TV, right? Your book and your show, 100 million downloads. They would think, oh, it's easy for you to do because you're good looking, you're articulate, and right. They'll think,
feel articulate
easy, it's all of that. But look at this journey, how long of a struggle that was. Forget just achieving that little bit of success, but through this learning, finding yourself, building your confidence, finding mentors. And I think, let's see if this is right. People see the success you have and want to talk about the podcast too. Because a lot of people think they got in the podcast for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
They want to make money.
You want to make, I've done 2 interviews. Like, how come, I'm not generating leads?
Yeah.
How did you get into the podcast?
So I moved to, so once I started doing the webinar, I started doing that pretty much every week with another business partner of mine that I found in Columbus. We started partnering on them for about 3-4 years. 3-4 years we were just doing them and it kind of took off. So from that first one to the rest of the year, we generated in sales $500,000, right around $500,000 in 6 months.
Because you were consistent.
I just did it every week. I just said, let's keep doing this. Keep doing this. And I was using LinkedIn to promote my webinars to get people on. So I just kept doing that.
What were you promoting back then? Like, what's the core product?
It was like a LinkedIn course.
Course,
so
okay.
We took that and
so you did
and
podcast.
And then we created a $1,000 offer that was more of a general social media, how to get traffic,
Program.
leads, and sales using LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Okay, so podcast, LinkedIn.
I didn't have the podcast yet.
Okay. So just got
Just
that.
like social media
LinkedIn,
training.
webinar. So got it.
That's it.
Got it.
Webinars, LinkedIn, and then a course. That was it. I was doing some events, but I wasn't really making that much money. A little bit, a few $100 or something.
Yeah.
And I had the LinkedIn book, but that's not really making money. Then we created a $1,000 course that started to do well. Then other people started to promote us. And they were like, hey, will you promote my course? And we'll give you 50%. So I learned about affiliate marketing at that time too. And I started making a lot of money promoting other people.
Yes. This was what year?
2010, 2011.
Okay.
Started winning affiliate contests, being in the top 10. And then I learned about masterminds. And that's when everything shifted. I went to my first mastermind 6 months after my first webinar.
Yes.
Because I was in the top 10 for this thing with Ryan Dice, Perry Belcher. And I remember going to their masterminds.
Yes.
And first I learned a ton. A lot of stuff that I had no clue about.
Yeah.
But I also met 5 people that became affiliates in the next 30 days. And we did $250,000 in sales in 30 days after that mastermind.
Yes.
So 6 months, did $500,000. 30 days later,
Boom.
250, and I go, wow.
Relationships,
masterminds.
Yeah.
Being a part of these. And I know you've got your own masterminds and high level coaching.
Yeah.
It's like everyone needs to be a part of your group if they're not yet, because of the power of the community.
Yeah.
The collective mind, the relationships, the opportunities. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to beat that.
And also expands your context.
So much.
Right? Because I bet you folks in a LinkedIn webinar, you may not be aware of these other models,
I had no
right?
clue about anything else.
Yeah.
No clue. So I started to learn so much, connect with people. And that went on for a couple of years. We had a nice run. My business partner and I had different visions. I wanted to go more mainstream.
Yeah.
He wanted to keep in the internet marketing. He was making lots of money. But I saw that as for me, I got really tired of like trading lists and affiliate content. For me, it was just exhausting.
I felt amen.
And I didn't.
Amen. I felt exactly the same way.
And I didn't also respect or align with some of the content of other courses and how they did business. I'm saying it was like right or wrong. I just didn't align with it.
Yeah.
It's not where I wanted to grow into.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't want to promote anyone else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah.
And so I sold my company to him. I moved to LA for a girl that I fell for. I was living in New York City at the time.
Okay.
I moved to New York City, fell for a girl, moved here for her. We broke up very quickly.
Okay.
And I was kind of going through another phase of my life of like, who am I?
Yes, because so before, right, athlete, then it's to now transition to kind of internet marketer, right? Yeah, and then
It's making me money, got to me a certain level.
Yes,
and I was
a level.
like, that's not what I want.
Yes. But at least you're not living on assistance.
bored anymore.
Yeah, right.
I had some money, but I was like, I'm not fulfilled anymore.
Yeah.
Like it was fun to chase this money and to build this thing and become known as this guy.
Yeah.
But this money is not fulfilling me anymore.
Because it's interesting, because when I observe your journey, even from like an outside perspective on LinkedIn, I was like, oh, how come like Louis just like kind of changes?
Yeah.
Like that's interesting, because because I could see it from a marketing branding perspective. Oh, it's more into mainstream. I would call it self-growth, self-development, right? But that's like at first of linked into this, like what is going on? But
people
now
didn't understand it.
I did like now it clears. I get it.
And people thought I was crazy.
Yeah. Why would you?
Leave something that was making so much money.
Yeah.
They thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
Like you built this brand, everyone knows you as this guy.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just knew I wanted something different in my life. I was not built to be the LinkedIn marketing guy for my life.
Yeah.
It's not my mission.
Yeah.
And I moved here and kind of had another identity crisis. I was in this relationship, it ended, and I kind of felt like lots of things were ending in my life. Like this business partnership ended right then, the relationship ended right then. I didn't know what I was going to do with my future anymore. And I started to get in a lot of arguments with people. I started to argue with people. I got in a fight on a basketball court right down the street here, which kind of woke me up to being like, what am I doing? Why am I reactive?
There's a lot of kind of aggression.
A lot of aggression.
Yeah.
You know, as a football player, I had a safe way to like legally hurt people.
Yeah.
Now I can't get my aggression out in a safe. Maybe in martial arts you have like a safe environment to like be aggressive.
Yes.
But when you lose that, and that energy is still inside of you, and you haven't healed certain things in your past.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're aware of this. It's like it comes out somewhere.
Yeah, and triggers.
So I remember driving down the street one day, and I pulled up to like a stop sign, and instead of looking right, I looked left first. I usually look left to see if the car's coming, and I think I pulled up too fast. And there was a runner who came, and I was in his way, and so he had to stop, and he couldn't keep running past me, right? And he punched the back of my car.
Oh.
Trigger. Felt like this is a personal attack against me.
Yeah.
I chased the guy in my car. Like he kept running. He did like an FU or something, flipped me off. I like went in my car, squealed out after the guy for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He would turn, I would turn. He turned around because he saw me chase him. You turned and stopped traffic. And it was stupid, man.
Yeah.
I literally got out of my car, started chasing this guy.
Oh wow.
I was that triggered.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that this is just who I am. Until I got in a fight on a basketball court where I reacted to a guy. He headbutted me, and I reacted to him, and I got in a really big fight. Physical fight, blood everywhere on the ground, everything. And my friend said to me, who was with me at the time, he goes, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. And that was a big turning point for me. I was like, my best friend that I know for over a decade doesn't want to spend time with me.
Doesn't like who you're becoming.
Yeah. He was like, I don't like who you are in this instance. You're so reactive. You're so frustrated. Now, I was a loving, friendly, happy guy until you triggered me. Then it was like I couldn't control the frustration,
the rage,
anger, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I started to do a lot of work on myself during that time. I asked myself, what do I want to do?
So this is 2000...
6.5.
Okay.
7 years ago.
7 years ago, okay.
2012, 13, yeah.
13, yeah.
So I remember saying, like, who do I want to be? What do I want to do in my life, personal life, business, everything? And I was like, man, I really want to develop a school of my own. A school of all the things I was never taught growing up that I need to know.
Yes.
Because I wish they would have taught me certain things that I learned in sports, certain
Right.
things that these mentors have taught me,
Yeah.
and certain things that I need to know about how to overcome these emotions.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to call it like a school. And I was in traffic. I was driving in traffic during this time, stuck in traffic, triggered by other people around me. And I was like, something needs to shift.
Yes.
And I want to create something to help myself, but also help everyone else who feels stuck like me, stuck in traffic or life. And I was just like, school of like greatness. Like, I just want to be great.
Yes. It's almost like you're building a school for others, but also almost building a school for yourself at the same time.
It's
like a self, healing, It's
everything. And it's funny, if people follow my journey over the last 6.5 years, I usually bring people on that I need to work on the most.
Yeah.
And I'll ask the questions for me, but also for everyone else listening.
Yes.
And I said, okay, I called 2 friends who had a podcast. I was in the car.
Yeah.
I called 2 friends during that car ride who I knew had a podcast and asked them, what is this podcasting thing? This is before podcasting was a thing.
Yeah.
And this is when it was like just a couple tech podcasts, 6-7 years ago, right? And both of them were like, it's my most favorite thing to do. I get the best leads for my business.
Yeah.
And it's just, I have so much fun doing it.
Yes.
I was like, these guys can do this. I could figure it out.
Yes.
I've never done this before, but I can figure it
They
out.
can talk to people. You can connect.
My whole life I've been observing and interviewing people, just not recording it.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to launch this thing. It's going to be called School of Greatness. And everyone said, you're crazy. You can't do a podcast that's like personal development, asking about relationships and business and mindset.
Yeah, because you need
philosophy.
a niche. You need a niche. Yeah.
And this is what I would teach as well.
Yeah,
like
you need a
my
niche,
stuff.
man. Yeah.
Everyone was like, no, you need to do like the entrepreneur show or like an online marketing show. That's what you're great at.
A LinkedIn show. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were like, you need to do online marketing. You can't do this like broad thing. It's not going to work. Everyone told me it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I go, I really don't even care if I make money.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter to me. It's just something I believe in. And I think like people are going to
So you want to talk to people you want to talk to.
That's it.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to people I want to talk to.
I do the same thing.
Some might be billionaires. Some might be like spiritual teachers.
Yes.
But like, I didn't care.
Yes.
And they and my friends were like, yeah, I don't think it's the right move, man. Like, it's a cool name, but I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah. Because then you confuse your audience, right? Yeah. All that.
And I said, I'm going to do it for a year, and I don't want to make money the first year. I don't even want to try to make money. I don't want to think about money.
Yeah.
I just want to do something that I love.
Yeah.
I want to help myself, and I want to help other people.
Yeah.
And it took off, man.
Yeah, it took off.
Like in the first year.
Do you remember how many downloads you got the first year?
Yeah, it took off in the sense of it was well received. It only got 750,000 downloads.
But the reputation.
in the year,
But
right?
the reputation you built.
Yes, it didn't even get 1 million downloads the first year. And I think this is what people need to be aware of. My whole first year of podcasting didn't even hit 1 million downloads.
Yeah.
Second year was only 3 million downloads.
Stupid. Yeah.
It's nice, but it wasn't like boom overnight. It was like this huge success.
Yeah.
But people loved it, and the impact and the results they were getting in their life was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was loving it.
Yeah.
And so my passion is what kept this alive for 6.5 years, over
Yes.
800 episodes.
Yes.
And it's just consistency. I have no techniques. I have no strategy for like growth.
How to hack the.
There's no way.
Yeah,
I've tried to figure it out.
Yeah.
I've tried to interview people. I've tried to ask people. I've tried to.
What a concept. Just do love what you do and
do the work and do it
well.
consistently.
Yeah.
You know, we do it 3 times a week.
Yeah.
You do something consistently enough for many years, eventually you're going to rise.
When did you start monetizing the podcast?
I started within like second year a little bit. Sponsors started coming to me.
Sponsors, yeah.
And I was rejecting a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel aligned to the brand.
Yeah.
And I don't need the money.
Yeah.
It wasn't really until 2 years ago when I started to really monetize it.
Okay.
So 4.5 years in,
Yeah.
when I said, all right, let's turn it on.
Yeah.
I was taking some money here and there, and I was using it as a tool to promote my book that I came out with, my courses, my membership, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a tool to promote things I had in my business.
Yeah.
But I didn't turn on sponsorships until about 2 years ago. But now it's like full steam ahead, man.
Yes. What does your company look like now with your personal brand?
Yeah.
Also want to ask you to build a personal brand. Like, what does that look like right now? So you do the podcast.
The goal is, we got the podcast. If we're talking about mechanically, I've got the podcast, which is kind of the main hub for everything.
That's the engine. Yeah.
That's the engine. And then I say like the email list and the social media channels are like, is what connecting people to the engine.
Yes.
It's the way to deliver it with my internal stuff.
Yeah.
Along with press and then fans promoting it to their fans or whatever. We've got our membership site. We've got our mastermind, so a $50 a month membership site, $50,000 a year mastermind for other seven-figure influencers.
Entrepreneurship.
I used to have a lot of courses. We got rid of them all because I did it for so long, almost 9 years. I had courses, probably over 15 different courses. For me, I just kind of get tired of doing courses. I'd rather have people in a membership.
Yeah.
So I transitioned from courses to membership. Just try to make it cleaner. Membership, mastermind, books, event, one event a year.
Yes. Do you find that the membership, that's more for the mass audience, right? People who want, maybe they're not ready for the 50K mastermind, but they can at least invest in themselves $50 for membership, right?
That's it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then the podcast is a big business in sponsorship alone.
Yes.
So that's one of the main engines. Is the podcast and sponsorship.
Got it. And over the years, what's your take on personal brand? Because then you've shifted, right, from LinkedIn into the marketing to, because you and I went through something very similar. And so I'm curious your
transition
thoughts.
from one brand to a different brand.
From an internet marketing, because I don't want to be internet marketing. I mean, I started online back in 2004, right? So I was actually talking with Mark Joyner about this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mark was on my show. Ryan Dice was on my show. We're just talking about some of these concepts that's good, but that's not where I want to be.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
A lot of money to be made in internet marketing. It's a great business.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. It's just...
I think those are money makers. I don't think they're actually real businesses from my perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
And also for me, mass credibility is important.
Yeah.
Mainstream credibility is important.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when you can really influence people.
Yeah. And impact a lot of people.
And I noticed that, I'm not going to say their names. I think they're all great guys. But a lot of these guys who are successful in internet marketing, Oprah, Ellen, GMA, Today Show, none of them were being called to be on the shows.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I want to impact the country and the world, I need all the big press to say, man, there's something about this guy or his mission or his message that we like. We got to have him on.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was on my sister's couch thinking like, someday I want to be on Ellen.
Yeah.
I want to be dancing with Ellen.
I saw it. I saw it.
I want to be dancing with Ellen.
I saw it.
And I was just like, it's not going to be teaching LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's not going to be being an affiliate marketer.
Yeah. Because it's just too niche.
Hacking the internet. Yeah, it's just not it.
Yeah. How to build an email list. Yeah.
That's it. And I was just like, I need to build something that is building a movement and transforming lives.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it be spiritually, financially, health-wise, like it's got to be a bigger transformation than just how to make money. And I was like, gosh, how do I do this? And whenever an internet marketer was doing courses and just coaching by itself, I said, okay, I'm going to keep doing that because I want to generate revenue. But I'm going to build this podcast into a mainstream brand. How do I do that? I can't talk just about money. I need to bring on celebrities. I need to bring on thought leaders. I need to bring on billionaires.
Bigger society, global
mainstream people.
Yeah.
I need to interview them, not just the internet marketing celebrities, which everyone else was doing that I knew. I was like, I can make a lot of money doing this.
Yeah.
But I need to forego money and do whatever I can to build relationship equity to get these people to come on my show, to trust me to tell their story.
Yeah.
Through association, I'm going to become that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You become who you hang out with.
Yeah.
You become those people that you're surrounded with the most.
Yeah.
And so people just started to say, well, I was in those conversations. Everyone would just be like, do you know Lewis Howes? Do you know Lewis Howes? Like,
Lewis is a cool guy. Like, yeah.
Man, he's with this person, Like, it was a great interview.
Yeah.
Man, this Lewis Howes guy.
Yeah.
You just become associated with that crowd.
Yeah.
Mainstream, celebrity, credible, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you interview all world-class athletes, you become known as world-class.
Yes.
And then I said, the podcast was a great foundation, but it's not enough. Like, podcasting didn't have a big enough name still, 6 years ago. 5 years ago, not until really a year ago.
Yeah.
Says, well, what can I do? I need to write a book. Everyone who's credible, and this was my second book. The first book, I was like, I need to write a book.
It's a great book, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a great book.
I go, I need to write a book. And everyone was talking about self-publishing, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I go, it's got to be with a big traditional publisher.
Yes.
Because I need to go mainstream.
Yeah.
Because no internet marketer who writes a book gets a New York Times bestseller list.
Yeah.
They're not getting press.
Yeah.
I need mainstream press, mainstream publisher.
Yeah.
I need front of Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
I need airports. I need what celebrities and credible TED speakers do.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
And I was committed to it. I went after the best agent in the world, Tim Ferriss's agent, Stephen Hanselman, who's incredible. And I said, and I was working on trying to get him as my agent for 5 years.
Yeah.
Until I became the person I needed to be for him to take me on. I had a vision, and I was just like,
I remember when we did the book tour. It was intense.
Yeah. I was like, I need to do everything that a celebrity would do, everything that a New York Times bestselling author would do. What do they do?
Yes.
They do big book tours.
Yes.
They have other celebrities with photos of their book, posting them.
I remember after the book tour, I think I was listening to, maybe you on a show or something like that. You're like, oh my, that's a long, yeah, it was a lot of work. Like, oh man, that was
so much energy. But I was like, this is a moment in time that I have to make something special happen.
Yeah.
You can't write a book every year and
Yeah.
have a chance to hit the New York Times bestseller list, unless that's all you're doing as a writer.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need my first book to make a splash.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where I can call in every favor from every guest I've had on,
Yeah.
because I never asked them for anything.
Yeah.
It's where I can ask for every favor, email every journalist that I've ever talked to,
Yeah.
all my affiliate marketing contacts, everyone,
Yeah.
to promote one thing for 1 week.
Well, 1 week. Yeah.
And give myself a chance.
Yeah.
It was in the front of all the Barnes & Nobles,
Yeah.
because I built a relationship with the Barnes & Noble team.
Yeah.
I was in magazines, I was on TV, I was on everyone's email list, every podcast, all social media. I was omnipresent
Yes.
for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And I remember when I got the phone call from my agent congratulating me that I hit number 3 in the New York Times bestseller list in the first week. I was just like, it's kind of like this, like, oh my gosh, we put all this energy. Even if we didn't hit it, I would have been disappointed if we didn't hit it. But I was like, you know what? We went all in and it worked. Yeah. And I knew that just having New York Times bestseller next to my name as an author would be another bump in credibility.
Yeah.
Another bump towards mainstream.
Yes.
Another bump towards mass audience reach.
Yeah.
So I do things very intentionally that are very challenging to do in order to give myself that.
Yeah.
Doing the podcast 3 times a week for 6.5 years is challenging to do for people.
Most people would not do that. They
and to
would
build relationships with people for years before they come on is not fun.
Yeah.
To write a book and think of it as a New York Times bestseller, not as a moneymaker, but as a mainstream book.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive to my marketing roots.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
It's like,
I get
what
it.
can I do as a funnel to have a back end?
Yeah.
No. What can I do that's going to change humanity?
Yeah. And that's why I'm launching my new book. It's exactly the same.
Exactly.
Exactly the same.
Then I said, okay, what's the next phase? I need a talk show.
Yeah.
So last year I did the first talk show for Facebook Watch.
Yes.
They came out with a new platform. We launched their first ever talk show. And that was another bump. It was like getting credibility, getting press, getting all this attention. Then I was like, you know what else do I want to do that's challenging that people aren't willing to do because it takes time, money, and energy?
I love the way you're thinking about it, because I have people ask me all the time, like, let's say they see my YouTube channel blew up, right? What's the secret? What's the secret sauce? How do you trick the algorithm? I said, 1 video a day.
That's it, man. People aren't willing to do it.
Is it what do you mean 1 video a day? Yeah, 1 video a day for like 3-4 years. Years. If you're not gonna, like, don't think months, don't think weeks, years.
And then it's not going to take off until year 4, you know?
Yeah.
You might not get the views you want.
And you may not even take off in the year 4, right? And also there's so many factors.
That's it.
When people listen to that, like,
I don't do this.
I want to run some ads. I want to get paid in the next, like...
simple stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, what's the next thing? I'm going to do a documentary. Like, it's hard to do a documentary. It's hard to do.
And you just finished.
Just finished,
yeah.
I'm
Chasing greatness.
Chasing greatness.
Yeah, chasing greatness.
I'm not a filmmaker. I didn't go to film school. I have no clue what I'm doing.
Yes.
But I find the right teams. I put it in place.
Yes.
I do the time. And
it's just a great piece to share your story.
It's a piece of art.
Yeah, and it's evergreen. You can share with the world. It's a legacy piece. Yeah.
So I'm always thinking of doing things. I also am very intentional about my design and branding.
Yes.
I think a lot of marketers miss out on.
Yeah.
Where I invested in my I went to Iceland 4 years ago just to do a photo shoot for my website. Spent 5 days, all this time, all this money.
Yes.
Hiring a celebrity photographer,
Yes.
Everything, just to be able to say, I want photos that look different than everyone else online.
Yes.
I want to stand
Yes.
in a unique position,
Yes.
and not just look like every internet marketer.
Yes.
So I'm very intentional about like, what do mainstream people do?
Yes.
I'm doing that. I'm not doing what internet marketers do.
Yes.
I'm using internet marketing principles
Yes.
so that I can make money and run a business.
Yes.
But I'm not going to be an internet marketer, and I want to
Yes.
be completely disassociated with that industry.
Yes.
So I know everyone. I still stay close with everyone. I still go to masterminds and learn.
Yeah.
But it's how can I apply mass mainstream media strategies, branding,
Yeah.
mission, vision, and apply it to what I'm doing. And that's something I'm always thinking about is how can I be different? Because as Sally Hogshead says, different is better than better.
Very, very true. Very true. So what's next for you? What's the next step? What's your vision for the next maybe couple of years? In terms of your brand or even just personally?
I think my mission from the beginning of the podcast is to impact 100 million people a week to help them live a better life in different areas of their life. And we just crossed 100 million downloads. It took 6 years.
Yes.
To 100 million.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank
Congrats,
you.
man.
Thank
Boom.
you, man. Thank you, man.
That's like that's an accomplishment
It's
itself.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. So the goal now is how do we do 100 million downloads in a year?
Yeah.
Then in a month.
Yeah.
Then in a week.
Yes.
And then every week.
And then every week.
So that's the goal. It's continuing to do what I'm doing now on a more scalable level.
Yes.
So who do I need to become in order to reach 100 million people?
Yes. And that's why the PR, the mainstream,
Everything.
the press.
What do I need to learn still? What fears do I need to overcome? What skills? Who do I need to meet still? What distribution? You were talking about some sites that you acquired. I'm not sure if it's public information now, but I've got greatness.com that we're looking to build the mainstream media site of inspiration, personal growth. So it's figuring out. I've never done something like this.
It's gonna be like a Netflix kind of for that, or like
I think it's always going to be evolving. It's going to be a content engine. So written articles, audio, video.
Yeah, and then that's one thing
series.
that's a domain name. That's mainstream.
Mainstream. And so I spent a ton of money
mainstream.
to buy a word that I've had for 2 years that I haven't done anything with.
That's mainstream. Yeah.
Right? It's a ton of money. It's a lot of energy, but it's greatness.com. It's not internetmarketingsecrets.com.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like a
yeah.
word that Apple News will put on your newsfeed.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Yeah.
How do you go more mainstream and reach a broad audience?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure it out. I still have no clue what I'm doing
Yes.
on a lot of things.
Yes.
But I find people like you and I'll ask questions and I'll
Yes.
learn from smart mentors who've already done stuff.
Yes.
I think that's the key. It's fine, when people watch your show and they listen to you and they read your books and they go to your events, they learn a skill that they can apply and instantly get results.
Yeah.
And that's what I need to do more of for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're doing it at a certain level as well.
Yeah. And I feel the same. I feel like now because you have the influence, it's even more responsibility.
So much.
Because before I'm talking to this small group of people. Now what you say actually matters to a lot of people, right?
And how I show
shapes,
up.
it shapes the industry,
Everything.
right?
And listen, I'm not some perfect human being here, so I make mistakes like a lot of people.
Yeah, we all do.
And how I handle my mistakes
Yes.
and talk about them is also a big responsibility.
Yes.
How I take responsibility for my actions, for my mess ups, for my mistakes, how I've hurt people. Like, I'm not a perfect person.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for me as well, is to constantly take ownership and responsibility for everything, continue to live from a loving place, and continue to learn and grow. You talk about responsibility, not to like plug this book or anything.
Yes.
But this book was something that I felt like, as I started to heal from my past on this journey of self-discovery,
Right.
and let go of a lot of the anger and resentment I was holding on to as a child from being sexually abused and a lot of other stuff, I realized like, wow, there's so many other men that I know who are suffering. And I want to give them these tools that I'm learning. And I want to find the experts and learn from them and write about it in a book. And this book was, everyone was like, again, like they said in the podcast, they were like, don't do this book. Do a marketing book. Do a business book next. So the first book was a huge success. We've got to build the momentum. Now it's the business version.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't want to talk about business.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about how men can heal
Yeah.
and become more vulnerable, loving,
Yes.
caring men.
Yes.
And they're all like, that's a dumb business move. And I go, I don't care if it's dumb, it's needed.
Yes.
And I'll feel like a fraud if I do something else.
Yes.
Because people healing and having better relationships with their partners and their children is more important to me than teaching people how to build their business. It just is. Someone else can teach it better.
But because of that resonates with people. That's what's different. It's not.
I did the different thing.
Yeah.
I did the thing that mattered to me, that I cared about.
Yeah. And it
And
shows.
again, it gets attention. I got tons of press. It continues to level up who I am. It's shifting my brand into something else.
Yes.
As opposed to just the podcaster. Okay, he's written the book, New York Times bestseller. Now another book about emotional intelligence with men and how to understand men better. Like, that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely different than a LinkedIn guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's. Yeah.
So the goal is every year, you ask, what am I doing now? It's like every year, how can I reinvent an idea to add depth to who I am as a personal brand and to who we are as a business making an impact on people. And I think if people can think of like, how can you develop yourself to reinvent every year and by taking risks, this was risky. This is not like the smart move. It took a year of my life writing it. It took 6 months promoting it. Like you lose money in other ways with that energy.
Yeah.
But I think it adds to your character. It adds to like your depth of who you are as a human when you're willing to put yourself out there like that.
Yeah, I love it. So
The fact that you're not just like this sales guy, but you're doing martial arts, you're trying other things, you're always like developing yourself, it brings you so much more depth than just like the high ticket sales guy.
Yeah, and it's interesting, when I said I want to upload martial art videos on YouTube, everyone said that's a bad idea. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Because it's different. It's like, wow, I want to learn from this guy who's like, show me some stuff and then teach me the psychology about how you can apply this in your life and your business.
But just me, I just do like same thing with you. You just do your
put salsa dancing videos of me on there.
Yeah, it's just yourself, right? Some people resonate with that. I put Iron Man stuff. I put like, oh, that's silly. That's not doesn't matter. I like Iron Man stuff.
Yeah.
But that actually resonate with people who. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I love it. What's the best way for, of course, listen to your podcast?
Yeah,
but what's the best?
School of Greatness, Lewis everywhere.
Get the book.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good book. It's a really, really good
Thank you,
book.
brother.
I actually, when I read the book, I was like, I was like, emotional intelligence for me, like, after a couple of chapters.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I love the book. Thank you
brother.
so much.
Lock and load, baby.
Lock and load.